So, yeah, no Al, that's not going to be great for you. But we do have the possibility that Rob is returning. And I know we keep talking about it. And we keep saying, not yet, not yet, not yet. But if you're listening to what Joe said today, I don't know how to interpret this other than when Rob says he's good, we're just going to put him in.
But I don't think it's that cut and dry. I think my understanding is that as far as the protocols that he needs to pass to get back on the floor, he's pretty much there. I think the biggest thing is their concern is that whatever the protocols involve, there's a certain repetition to them. And I think that still needs to happen. Like, he can do everything that I think he needs to do, but he needs to be able to do it with some degree of consistency before I think everyone involved feels comfortable bringing him back on the floor. But there's no doubt that he's going to be – I would be shocked if he's not back at some point on this West Coast trip. I think it just makes too much sense to bring him back, particularly when you know there are going to be games where you're not going to have Al, and you can throw him out there for 10, 15 minutes. You've shown the ability, again, to really be an elite team defensively without him. And so it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get into the flow of how he fits into this new-look Celtics team, a team that looks to score the ball more than the teams that he's accustomed to playing for. But there's no doubt that at the end of the day, Rob is going to be a difference maker for this team. I do believe that having him in the mix based on how they played, he's that one ingredient that could put this team over the top and win the championship. He's that impactful.
Who would have thought, again, you look back at some of our discussion preseason and our predictions, and our thought was Rob might miss the first 2.5, 3 months of the season. They're going to take a while to get right. They're going to be a little bit thin. They might take some losses through some load management. So they might struggle to end up as the 3 or the 4 seed because they're going to give away a lot of games early. Rob's going to take a month or so before he hits his stride. And then really they're not going to start cranking until post All-Star break, into March and whatever. And at that point, they might peak, and who cares who they play because they'll be all clicking on all cylinders. Now we've entered a world in which winning a title without Rob is not only plausible, and now you'd even say they're betting favorites if Rob Williams never played another minute. So what happens if Rob, and again, if obviously you want your good players back, there's certain things that are going to be tough to sustain. Al Horford's load and minutes, he really has become more of a 3-and-D wing as he gets later in his career rather than a big. But again, he's still incredibly useful and incredibly impactful out there because there's just not a lot of teams that have a lot of beef that you're really super worried about right now. Obviously, Embiid is Embiid, but you need Rob. And when you get Rob, oh my goodness. So the possibilities, I just think, are so interesting, and what happens here with this team when he returns, we're all just dying to see it. And I think everyone's going to be patient in the early going if he doesn't look exactly like he's, like himself. But it is really exciting to see, what if it's close? What if he's close to himself right out of the gate? Where can this team go? I'm almost scared because you almost want to put the whole team in bubble wrap. If Rob comes back and he looks good, it's let's just pause and let's just get to the playoffs and go from there, right?
Yeah, if he comes back and he's looking like top Time Lord player, then I'm a little concerned because at that point you would be looking at a team that looks as completely awesome as can be, and we're not even at Christmas. And that makes me a little bit nervous because the longer those guys are out there before you get to the games that truly matter, like the playoffs and things like that, the more you run the risk of a fluky injury or some type of setback that would just derail the momentum that this group is building up. I do worry about that all the time as I'm watching them play. But on nights like this where I don't think they played their absolute best game as a team, and they're still able to win by 10, those are the games that are actually more encouraging to me than the ones where they beat teams by 25, 30 points, because when they've got to fight and claw and battle to get to win, that builds up a certain kind of toughness that I think this team is going to absolutely need if they're going to make it through the Eastern Conference and get back to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's too long ago. Even the good versions of this team. This is a team that almost pissed away a chance to get to the finals with a late game collapse against Miami. There are a couple of games in that series where they just completely shut down. We saw them even when they were playing really well in important games, just lock up and not be able to get buckets down the stretch and not be able to extend leads or hold leads or put teams away. And now you're seeing completely the opposite, which is just closing time with these guys where they just lock it in. I mean, that little stretch in the fourth quarter there where they put this game away was so freaking impressive because you let them hang around. Oh, it's a 3 or 4 point game, and it's okay. Anything can happen. They absolutely slammed the door shut. It was unbelievably impressive.
Agreed, and we'll see how they handle that absence again tomorrow. That should be a good situation for Blake to step
I know how you
into.
handle it.
How's that?
Come on.
Cornet.
Try again.
Blake. It's Blake.
No, keep trying.
Noah.
You going Noah?
No, none of you guys got it yet.
No chance of that happening.
Who is it? Rob. Nah, not yet. I actually just saw him coming out of the locker room. So he is on the trip. He scrimmaged this morning. And I think he got involved with some of the, second unit guys there. Got depth guys who scrimmaged in the morning before games. So it feels like he's kind of taken another step there in terms of moving out of that controlled environment. But I still think he probably needs to get through a walkthrough. And some of these, I don't know if they're going to practice out west. I think they'll probably have some room to practice once they get out there. So once he gets one of those, I don't know. We kicked around Golden State. Could it be even maybe that Phoenix game before the Golden State game? I think one of those two would make a lot of sense.
He's playing. He's coming.
You think Toronto tomorrow?
Who knows? That
would be great.
Can't we let's just put it out there. Okay? It makes sense. Look, I said this earlier. Who knows what he needs? What he needs right now is just to be in game shape, but we talked about it a couple shows ago. The only way he gets in game shape is by playing games. So at this point, they're no longer physically worried about him. They only want him to get into game shape so he can go out there and be effective. At this point, when he's ready to go, he's just going to go. One of these days, he's just going to play. It could be tomorrow. It could be a couple of days from now, a week from now. It's just going to happen. The fact that they're no longer saying, we want to work him back, maybe a couple more weeks of conditioning and see. The fact that every update has been pretty close means just one day he's just going to show up in uniform. So why not tomorrow?
It's almost like they're waiting for him to give the thumbs up.
That's what I said to Sherrod earlier.
Today.
Every update now is like, we're just going to make sure he's ready. I think they've given him medical clearance at this point. It's when are you ready, Rob? And when he's ready, that's it.
And I can understand if he's being a little bit hesitant about coming back too soon, because when you think about just his career trajectory up to this point, he's shown so much promise of being a truly elite, dare I say, all-star caliber big man in this league. And yet literally the only thing that you can seriously have a knock against him is staying healthy. And so for him, I think he wants to be absolutely 100% certain when he steps back out on the floor, he's ready to go, and he's ready to go for the long haul. When I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, he did mention that when he's back out there, he's missed enough games already, so he's got that behind him. He doesn't anticipate that he'll miss any more games because he's already missed so many. So that I think is why he's being real overly cautious about his return.
And that's what we say is like at this point. Like, I think every Celtics fan is totally prepared to live in a world where Rob comes in and plays 12 minutes, and that's it. A little stint coming off the bench in the first half and another one in the second half, and that's it.
Yeah,
and that's
just
fine.
Just
get a taste and start working your way back in there. Get used to the guys. Get used to playing, Get into some rotations. It can happen anytime, so who knows?